So, Matt, can you break it down for us? Basically, my understanding is that this is an attempt to remove Donald Trump from the ballot.
This is a veiled attempt, not outright.
I like this. This is a veiled attempt.
By a couple of Democrats, namely the lead sponsor on this bill, HB 2150, House Bill 2150. Lead sponsor is Representative Christine Reeves of Federal Way, Democrat. And she makes no bones about it that she believes Donald Trump is guilty of insurrection and because of the 14th Amendment should be disqualified from running from office. It's an argument that's being used obviously across the country in these ballot challenges and whether or not he should be on the ballot. So now, as of right now, brand new today, this bill was introduced in the state legislature, basically lining up reasons why someone should be disqualified from running for office, including the primary. We have a primary March 12th, presidential primary, which all the names were submitted yesterday. And by the way, if you wanted, I didn't know if you knew this, I looked up the election law. Since they were submitted yesterday, any citizen in the state can now challenge any name on that ballot until tomorrow. Oh. You can go to the Secretary's office, challenge that person is not qualified to run for president, and then it'll go to a court hearing, and they've allowed some time to make an immediate court hearing, and you can challenge it before they print the ballots.
I challenge them all. Yeah. I challenge them all, every one of them. I should be on the ballot is what I'll say.
Challenge them to a duel.
Wouldn't that be great? Do you see where Trump is challenging Haley's naturalized citizen? He's now playing the birther card against Nikki Haley in some of his campaign stops.
Well, you play the hits is what I like to say.
Well, and so you can do that right now for whatever reason. Any citizen can do it.
That's good to know.
That's until tomorrow. You have until tomorrow. But in regards with this bill, basically this is giving brand new authority to the Secretary of State to disqualify not just someone running for president, but someone running for senator, governor, representative. It's up to, and this hasn't been done before. There's two things part of this bill. The Secretary of State's basically been an administrator. They don't look into the background whether this person is 35 years of age and can run for president, right, or has XYZ and would disqualify him, or it was an insurrectionist on January 6th. That's not the Secretary of State's responsibility. But given this law, if it passes, it would be. They have to decide whether this person is disqualified. It also, which is the other part of this bill, brand new, never happened before in this state, gives the legislature as a group the authority to remove somebody from a ballot, including the presidential primary ballot, like on March 12th, if the body of the legislature in a simple majority vote says, nope, this person's should be disqualified. And it just says disqualified, meaning they could pick any reason. So primarily it's focused on the 14th Amendment, but it gives new powers to the Secretary of State, new powers to the legislature. And yes, this is all about Donald Trump and everybody that goes past him. Here's a really quick from Christine Reeves on why she says it's not just all about Trump.
Really important for me to kind of express to people that, yes, Donald Trump is the example, but he's not the only person out there who this could apply to.
So we asked the Secretary of State's office how do they interpret this? I mean, they're the ones that's going to be directly affected by that. And here's what they had to say. This is Derek Nunley, the Executive Press Office.
This legislation would give the Secretary of State responsibility for determining who is eligible to run for a state or federal office, and that would be a shift of responsibility.
Yeah, and he basically says it'll be up to the Secretary of State office not to determine whether Trump in this primary election, which is 61 days away, they have to look at the responsibility of 375 offices, the eligibility of all the candidates in that office under this legislation. It's their responsibility to find out whether Jack is eligible to run.
I am.
But isn't that already the case? Shouldn't that be the case, that someone makes sure that someone who seeks public office meets the qualifications for it?
No, that's you as a voter to determine whether...
It's up to me to decide who's got a criminal record or who is not a naturalized citizen, who is not 35 years of age? No. Shouldn't people who put them on the ballot be the ones who make the determination for their qualifications?
In the state of Washington, the Secretary of State does not do that.
Right. That's the thing about this law, this proposed law, is they're doing this as a political action now, in the 11th hour before this. I mean, states like Colorado, that's already on the books. Maine, it's already on the books.
Correct.
These things, and they're just applying what is state law to this particular. And first off, the fact that they're not doing this on January 7th 2021. The fact they're doing this 3 years later is what I got a real problem. This is now completely political against Donald Trump.
I asked Reeves, what would happen if the primary happens March 12th? Donald Trump
wins the primary.
He wins the primary.
Right. And then
can you take action? She says yes.
But if ballots have already been printed and sent to voters, the number of votes that person receives won't be published and may not be disclosed for any reason.
They won't be counted. That's the rationale of her legislation, is that even though he may win, if it's the last 11th hour they determine he's disqualified, they'll have the election, but his votes won't be counted.
You're talking about disenfranchising voters?
Yeah,
that would never hold up in court.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
is that I feel as if there is this. This is a statement of opinion, not a statement of fact for legal reasons. But there are people within this state that feel as if they know what is best for the voting population, and so they are willing to take any measure in order to do that. It's very nanny state. It's very mommy state. It's very mommy knows best. You can't go play with little Donnie because he's got that weird powder all over his face and he smells like cheeseburgers. You can't play with little Donnie because he glues his blocks together and he doesn't pay his lunch money.
He always says he wins and takes all the marbles.
Exactly.
Every time you play.
So this is very mommy state, and the thing is that Americans by nature have a culture and a desire to vote for or seek to vote for anybody that they determine to be fit for office. And when you take that away from Americans, I don't think it matters what their party affiliation is. They don't react. I have not seen a single person on the left or the right who is what I would deem to be a reasonable human being say this is the appropriate action. No political commentator that I watch, no podcast that I listen to. When I go on Reddit and I'm looking at people within Washington State or the state at large and they look at something like this, they say, why? Why? Let people vote for it. It's something that is ubiquitous outside of maybe 5% of people in the United States. Spike is in that group of people.
I am.
And it's this idea that we can take this away from you. And unfortunately, the people who say, well, what if this is going to be used against you are totally right about this. When you use the nuclear option, that's the only option available. And then you're going to get people saying, I'm not going to let Joe Biden on the ballot because of the way he handles it.
Well, let me tell you about I'll call it political analysis. I'm not going to give an opinion. That's your guys' stuff.
Okay.
But the political analysis of the reality of this happening is it's not going to happen. I mean, she's putting a stake in the ground, making her claim, making it public, in a time when there's this uproar across the country. So all of a sudden, wow, we're going to be thrown in the middle of all this. Yeah. But the reality of this happening in this short session, I find it's going to be doubtful. But it's going to be discussed, and that's what's going to happen.
That's what politics are about, discussion.
Send us a text at 888-973-5476. Let us know how you think about it. We'll talk about this in the next segment, because then my argument, I think, will stand strong, Spike, that there are people out there who are Democrats or moderates or whatever it is who say, I can't stand the ground that man shambles on, but at the same time, I want him to be on the ballot because I believe in democracy.
Well, I think, contrary to that, I think laws are laws and should be put to public vote. Then you got a lynch mob. If a guy's found innocent, but the crowd doesn't like
Spike, this is a weird. This is a mental gymnastics argument that is so bizarre.
First gymnastics I've done it over 40 years, Jack.
If a law takes away somebody's ability to exercise a right, is that law just?
It's not taking away the right to vote.
Yes, it is. For the candidate of my choosing.
If the candidate of your choosing was 18 years old, would you still think the public should have a right to vote him as president?
Yeah, absolutely.
If he's 18 years old, he doesn't meet the qualifications?
I don't really care.
Okay.
What do I care? Put a cat on the ballot. I don't care. Put Ronald McDonald and put Scrooge McDuck. Doesn't make any difference to me. We'll take a really quick break. We'll be right back with your text messages when we get back right after this.
Have you heard of the paper ceiling? It's a barrier that prevents workers from progressing in their field without a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. I experienced it myself, and I went back to university to break through the paper ceiling and get the salary and the position that I feel I deserved. WGU's College of Business designs its bachelor's and master's degree to keep up with the speed of business through ongoing industry collaboration to ensure the skills you gain are the skills employers value most. Go to wgu.edu to start advancing your career today.